All right, we are joined by juniors Deborah Manley and Chris Brewer. So we'll open up for questions with them.
Chris, the last play, was that designed for you, or did you do a little freelancing and take it yourself to the basket?
The play was made for me. Coach ran it up in the timeout, and he just told me to get the ball, make a play. I was going to hit Dev in the corner, but the man was on him, and I just took it to the rack strong and tried to draw a foul.
And you got the
Yeah, got the foul. Right.
Trevor, are you superstitious?
Not at all. No, not at all.
Can I ask what you had for breakfast this morning and everything else, but I guess it doesn't matter, huh? Have you ever had a night like that where you shot that many threes?
I can remember last year against Chicago State, I had 6. And I think tonight I had about 7. So, yeah.
7, yeah.
Did you guys know that you are 3 points away in tonight's game for breaking the tie of the most 3-point scored in the NCAA game?
No, we didn't even know that.
at first I didn't know, but somebody had shouted it out in the crowd like we were at 11 and we just needed a few more. But besides that, I didn't know.
The record's 21, so you're just 3 away.
Ooh,
It's almost there.
almost close. You all right?
How many of them did you take, and how many of them did they just give you, if you understand what I'm asking?
I mean, we took a lot of shots. I think we took maybe like close to 15 threes. Dev made some. I made one. We took a lot of shots, but we towards the second half, we came through and made them in the clutch, so that was good for us.
You went, and then you go 10 minutes without getting the hoop.
Yeah, that was tough. That was tough. We had to get in. The captains, the senior leadership had to come in and just use defense, just pressure that ball and come in, and we just got the win.
Usually if you go through a stretch like that, particularly after being so hot, now you got 10 minutes where you're not hitting nothing, you start puckering up a little bit. You guys seem to pull out of it pretty well. Did coach say anything? Because it came right after a timeout when you finally got a basket.
I mean, coach just told us after the timeout just to keep playing. You know what I'm saying? I mean, we got natural fight in us. We're not going to give up at all. So after the timeout, we was ready. We was hungry to fight. We knew we was hitting, so we knew that if we just kept playing hard, the shots would fall and things would fall into place.
When did you guys feel the momentum switch there in the second half? Because you didn't come out as hot as I think you guys kind of wanted to, and then all of a sudden it was just like something switched.
Well, I think it was after a timeout. We had drew up a play for Derek Jackson to come over the top. I think he had started off and hit a 3, so they got us our momentum up, and we just fed off him. And Dev fed off him, and we just came up with it.
Not only the shooting, guys, but it seemed like tonight your possession, you handled the basketball well. It was 1 turnover at halftime, like 5 or 6 the remainder of the game. That has to help you out your confidence as well, that you kept possession of the basketball a lot.
Yeah, this year we haven't been doing any committing any turnovers like that, and so we just share the ball, and just believe in each other, and Dev had an awesome game. We found him, so we just did good.
Dave, talk about the one play. I think it was you. Darren drove baseline. Looked like he got caught under the basket.
Yeah.
Flipped it out to you.
I had seen him. I had seen him.
Big hoop.
Yeah, I seen him down low. He had kind of got caught up. It was like a little 3-man trap on him. So I just kind of tried to get in his view. And as soon as we connected eyes, he was able to swing it to me in the corner for a wide open 3. I was so open, I just knew I had to just catch and shoot and knock it down.
All right, we're joined by head coach Rob Sunderhoff. We'll start with opening statement and we'll open for questions.
Yeah, well, first, that was a heck of a game, I thought. And it was one of those, go down to the wire. They made a lot of big plays. I thought we made a lot of big plays. And at the end, Chris made that one free throw, which turned out to be the difference. But we had a lot of guys I thought played well tonight, especially offensively. Defensively, we left some stuff to be desired. But sometimes that's how it works. You're just happy that you get a win like that. So.
When it was going back and forth like that early, and it wasn't just you guys hitting him, but them hitting him too, what's your thinking as a coach in terms of, do you want to try to adjust some defense in terms of not letting them get as much, or do you almost like it's one of those nights and everybody's like, just got to kind of let it play out?
Yeah, there was a couple of points where I thought maybe we need to go zone, but at the same time, the kid Ty Green and Torrey Craig, you worry about playing zone too, because you know they may get some decent looks in zone, and they're such a good passing team. You know, I was worried about that. And had we lost, I certainly would have been questioning why we didn't play zone to myself. I would have said I should have done that. So, yeah, to answer the question, yeah, you go through that thought, but, you know, it was just, as the flow of the game was going on, I just didn't want to risk changing it. And they were making some tough, like, Derek Jackson, I thought, was guarding him, and he made some tough shots in the second half, Ty Green, but he's a really good player. So sometimes they make shots. He kept looking at me. I was like, well, what do you want me to tell you? You got to guard him better, I guess. Don't let him catch it. So, you know, that happens. And then he came back and made some plays too. I mean, he hit a couple big threes and drives, and it was a great game. Great game.
Is it a case where like the three-pointers are contagious? I mean, it's one thing for like a guy like Dev to kind of be, you know, hot. It's kind of his forte in general. But then when the other guys start doing it too.
Yeah, you know, the guy who broke the ice, I thought, well, Dev obviously did, but then Chris Ortiz hit one, and I thought that sort of broke the ice because they had taken a lead in the first half, and he hit one, and then it just became sort of a barrage, I guess, of threes. But we have good shooters, and as long, you know, the way that they play defensively, they're going to make you kick the ball out, and to some degree, they're going to make you shoot them. And tonight, you know, we did a great job making them. So that's, you know, I don't know that we'll ever make 18 again. That's the most we've ever made, I'm sure. Yeah. So, you know, and we needed every one of them. So.
Can you take us, Rob, through the last possession after Chris came in, because that was his play, made the foul shot. Was there, when they called the timeout before Chris went to the line, what was the thoughts defensively?
Well, they called the timeout, I think, on the side out of bounds.
Yes.
And the reason they did is because we went with 4 guards for the last play, and they had 2 post players in there. So they looked at that and said, you know, they didn't want to get Kellen Thomas matched up, or Ricardo Glenn matched on Kellen Thomas, so they had to call a timeout to get him out of the game. So we wanted to hold for the last shot, which we didn't do. And again, these are teaching points that I'll talk to Chris about it tomorrow, is that, you know, he went a little earlier than I would have liked him to go, but he got fouled. He made 1 or 2, and then because they didn't have a timeout, it was just in transition. I thought Kellen did a really good job sort of cutting off their guard and making them take a difficult shot. Yeah. And they didn't have, you know, when you're playing, they didn't have a timeout, so they were trying to just get it and go in transition, you know, which after a made free throw, it's hard to do.
Just a quick comment on Craig. He was everything as average.
Oh, he's good now. He's good. Ty Green is good. Ricardo Glenn is a good, really good post player. I mean, they have a really good team. These guys are juniors and seniors. It's the same group. I mean, Glenn, Craig, Maxey, Green. I don't know if Blessing played a bunch when we played him down there. That was the same starting 5 when we played him 2 years ago? Yeah, so, I mean, those guys have played together a lot. I think last year, and I don't know why, but I don't think they had as good a year as they expected last year. This team's good. I mean, this team's good. It down the road sometime, when they're in league play and they're 11-2 or whatever the number is in league play, people say, "Oh, that was a pretty good win by Kent State," because they're a good team.
That's from the Atlantic Sun, where FGCU
Yeah.
is.
And Mercer beat Seton Hall. Mercer's really good too in that league. Really good. That's a good win for us.
It's an interesting last couple series of games because you're winning a lot of different ways. And it was good to see a close one like this too, the 3-pointers.
Good for who? For you?
Good for all your fans out there.
No, you know what? Yeah.
But
I know, I'm
seriously,
just.
you know
Yeah.
this versatile group can win in any
And we were down at the last media timeout, and our guys at the timeouts were saying all the stuff you'd want them to say. And there were some different guys that were in. Chris Ortiz was in late. Darren got tired, and he asked to come out for a split second, and I actually couldn't get him back in. And then Chris Ortiz got the offensive rebound putback when I would have put Darren in, you know. So, and Kellen was in because Kellen, I thought, was playing well with a lot of energy. And I tried to sub him out, but I tried to sub him out late. And it just shows you how bad a coach I am. Is that I tried to sub him out, but it was too late, and he drew the foul and made both free throws. So, you know, sometimes you get fortunate, but the guys are ready to make plays. That's the bottom line. You got, your kids have to be ready to go. And I thought Kellen did a great job. I thought Chris Ortiz did a good job when he was in. I thought all the guys played hard.
Can you tell me what you were thinking about with 5 seconds left tied and Brewers up for just 2 free throws?
Well, he's a great free throw shooter, so I was actually surprised he missed the first. I just assume he's going to make both free throws because he would be, and there's a number of guys I'd love to have on the line, but if there was one guy that I said, okay, we had to choose one guy to be on the line at that point, it would be Chris. And that's not to say I wouldn't want a lot of them there, but I expect him to make them. And he missed the first one pretty short, and then he stepped up, and he didn't play very well, but he stepped up and made the biggest shot of the game because that gave us the lead.
And was there a strategy, knowing that they were going to get the ball back and run it as fast as they could down to try and save the basket?
Yeah.
Strategy not to let Craig kind of have.
No, you know what? We were at that point. We were just matching up and trying to make sure they took as contested a shot as they could. And it was a tough shot that they took. But it's hard when you don't have a timeout and you're just trying to run up the court and trying to make a play. And we were fortunate that that he missed, and we did a good job sort of corralling the ball and making him take a tough shot, I thought.
How antsy are you when that play, based on how the new rules are and the way things are playing out, all you got to do is just go?
Yeah, and that's sort of what Chris did, right? And I would have wanted Chris, I wanted him to go later. But you know what happened? They denied, he didn't get the ball in bounds. Right. And then Darren sort of gave it to him, and he had an angle, so he drove. Then on the defensive end, yeah, you just got to keep your hands up and make them take as contested a shot as you can. And, I thought Kellen, what? I'm sorry? Yeah, sort of get your hand, make sure you're showing your hands. And I thought Kellen did a great job because Kellen was guarding somebody else, and he saw his guy was trailing. And he saw the point guard had sort of an angle, and he came over and put his hands up too and made it a really difficult play for him.
What, going forward, what do you think you need to work on defensively?
You know what? Last night was our best defensive game of the year, and tonight was our worst defensive game of the year. We've got to do a better job in a lot of areas. One of them is just making sure that we stay to our principles at all times. We got caught a couple times trying to cheat some screens, which, when you do that against good players, sometimes they get open looks, and we just got to make sure we continue to work hard and communicate on defense, get back in transition. But, last night was the best defensive effort we had of the year. Tonight was the worst, and hopefully tomorrow we'll get back to where we were yesterday.